My upload speed is very slow today on the 5G network. My upload speed is very slow today on the 5G network. My upload speed is very slow today on the 5G network. My upload speed is very slow today on the 5G network. My upload speed is very slow today on the 5G network. Okay, how is the audio? How is the audio and the video right now? I feel like I'm going to jump right into sewing with this machine because this is really, really unprecedented to have this many issues. But I did have an echo. You're right, Kevin. Yeah, Kevin Orr said, hey, echo, 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 echo. Yeah, boy, this is frustrating, isn't it? I don't know what's going on. It's got to be the 5G network that supplies my signal must be having upload issues today. Yeah. I'm stuck in a can. 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 Oh, Jiminy Crickets. No, there is a Susie just said that there's no live chat or something, but there is live chat. I can see it, and you guys are typing in it. So the live chat should be okay. Okay, let me just march forward. We'll see what we can do. We'll see if we can get some sewing done on this machine before it does something weird again. So all right, and I'm going to monitor it. I'm going to monitor it on my phone. I'm going to monitor it on my phone so I can see that it's still running, hopefully. We usually don't have this many technical problems, so I don't know what to say other than it's got to be my 5G signal. My 5G signal is not working well. So, all right, Susie said everything's up and running. All right, let's see if I presented so much interesting stuff. Now I've got 3 parts to this silly thing that I've got to try to pull together somehow. Or maybe I just won't worry about it. So, and poor Suzanne is probably wondering if I got electrocuted again because we've gotten knocked off a couple times. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to jump into some sewing before something goes screwy again. We'll start with a good old straight stitch, and then we'll launch into some of this other material sew-offs. All right, straight stitch first. I just realized, let me see how you can see this on the camera. I might have to switch. Part 3 now, exactly. Oh my gosh. This is nuts. You know what I think happened? Here's what I think happened. I think the Hello Kitty needle people are like spiking my tower or something like that because I beat them up so bad about their crummy needles. So they have people over by the 5G tower right now that supplies my signal, and they're throwing rocks at it probably. I might have to get Kevin Orr involved as a government type guy and see if he can get some people going after these other people. So here's the other thing I noticed is I picked a red material with red thread. I don't know if we're going to be able to see it. I might have to grab different thread. or a different material. Let's see if we can see this at all on there. That's going to be really hard to see, isn't it? I think I'm gonna. Here's what I'm gonna have to do. I think you can see it a little bit. There's the lock stitch. Are you able to see that at all in the shot? Otherwise, I can go to a brown material. Yeah, it's hard to see it. Susie's saying it's hard to see it too. I don't know what I was thinking. Red thread, burgundy material. It must be one of those days. Give me just a second here. Uh, let's go with a brown material. It'll be a lot easier. Let's see here. Actually, I'll do green. Green shows up well too. I think we used green on the last one with the red thread, and it shows up nicely. Let's do green. All right, and there's no sound right now because I'm not talking. So now we're going to go with green, and we will hope that our technical difficulties, hopefully the police have caught the Hello Kitty needle people over there messing around with the tower, and they've thrown them in the cuffs or something like that. All right, let's try that straight stitch again so we can see it, hopefully. All right. Hoping that'll be a little bit easier to see. I can't remember the last time we had this many technical difficulties. Very, very irritating. All right, let's see if we can see this, hopefully. Let's see if we can see this, hopefully. Yeah, I think that's going to be easier to see for sure. Lock stitch. Okay, let's do a zigzag now. Let's do a zigzag now. I'm kind of rushing us through it now because now I'm paranoid. I don't know if the smoke, I don't know if smoke is causing issues or not. I don't think it is. Maybe. Maybe it is. No idea. It's possible. All right, let's do a zigzag now. We've got a standard zigzag, and we'll see what we think of this one. All right, here we go. Yeah, I thought by going to the 5G that I would never have any problems because the tower is only about a mile away from the workshop. It's only about a mile away from the workshop. But again, the home internet people like myself that use it for streaming, they get a lower priority than the people that use it for their phones. So with it being Saturday, there might be a lot more phone users too out there. It's hard to say. So this is our top stitching that we've done. Zag. I'm going to turn that overhead light on real quick, although I think you can see it okay. Lock stitching. Yeah, looks good. Okay. And I would normally try to involve you a lot more in choosing the stitches and everything else. But I'm so paranoid about us getting knocked out again. So I'm going to keep on marching forward and demonstrate all the stitches. And then if we have some extra time, we can go ahead and do that. So now, and I just saw the chat go out as well. I just saw the chat go out. So this will be one of those Saturdays where we're just going to have a lot of problems. So now I'm going to do the 3-point zigzag. We'll do the 3-point zigzag now, and we'll see. Hopefully you can still hear me. Hopefully you can see what's happening. It's just maybe one of those Saturdays that we're just going to be facing a lot of challenges technically. Okay, 3-point zigzag now. I'm going to shorten down my stitch length a little bit. So Susie is saying it's probably not the smoke then, from what she said. Has anyone seen Suzanne join back? Has Suzanne joined back? Otherwise, I'm going to give her a quick call. Hey, Suzanne, it's Scott. I'm calling you. We are actually on our third live stream now, where the other one lost sound. It must be my
Yeah.
it must be my 5G network. So we are third time is the charm. We're back again. We're back again. If you're available and you want to join us, you're certainly welcome. Otherwise, I'll post these afterwards, all three of them, and then people will be able to watch them collectively. But yeah, it's got to be my 5G network. I can't figure out what else is going on. So,
Well,
but yeah,
I
I
hope
just
it's not the machine doing the jinxing.
no, the machine is doing great.
Okay.
I just did a straight stitch and a zigzag, and now we're going to do a 3-point zigzag. The machine is doing beautifully. It's the internet. So
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I'm driving, so won't let me chat.
that's okay. That's all right. All right.
Um,
I just want to let you know we're back again.
okay. Well, thank you so much. I've been wondering.
Yep, you betcha. Bye.
Okay. Bye.
So that was the owner, and I just wanted to call her to tell her that we're back on again. It's going to open up the screen. Okay. So far we've done the straight stitching, the zigzag. That's kind of what we got right there. Beautiful stitching. Actually, I shut the light off. You can see it more easily. Now we're going to do a 3-point zigzag next to those. 3-point zigzag. All right, here we go. Oh, I should have made that even shorter. I thought I shortened it enough. It's okay. It looks like hills. Yeah, Suzanne, the owner, is supposed to be here at about 1 o'clock. So in less than an hour, she's going to be here to pick up the machine. And we have been delayed after delayed after delayed after delayed in trying to get the internet to cooperate. This Lotus has been ready to get the job done, but the internet has not been cooperating today. Okay, so now the 3-point zigzag. I'll give you a look on that one. And I could have made that 3-point zigzag much, much shorter. Much shorter. Beautiful stitching. Very, very beautiful stitching. That again is our top stitching right there. All right. Now our lock stitching on the bottom. Those are definitely page 34. Definitely page 34. Well, you know what? Cow Country family does not give up easily. This is the third time that we've restarted this live stream. The third time, and we're just gonna plug through these stitches and get her done. Get her done. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is I've done so far the straight stitch, the zigzag, the 3-point zigzag. You can see that in the shot there. Now I'm going to rotate this selector and we're going to move over to the blind hem. Now we're on the blind hem stitch, and then we've got our two tri-motion stitches that we'll do after that, a stretch straight, and then I think that's a rick-rack or something like that, the next one after that. So we'll do our blind hem now, and then we'll move on to the tri-motion. When I get to the tri-motion stitches, I will try to move the camera down there by the action so you can see it like I did with the last machine. Okay, so this should be the blind hem now, and then I'll show you that stitching once we're done with it. All right. All right, here we go. So this is our blind hem stitch. And then the last two stitches we will do on this Lotus 1000 are going to be the tri-motion stitches that require that feed dog manipulation. The feed dog manipulation. All right, here's our, let me make sure. Yep, this is our top stitching now. Very, very nice stitching. Very, very nice stitching. Beautiful stitches. All right, flipping it over now for our lock stitching. Very, very nice. Very, very nice stitching. Technology cannot slow down a great machine like this. It might delay us, but it can't slow us down. This again is our lock stitching. We just laid down a straight stitch, a zigzag, a 3-point zigzag, and now a blind hem stitch. Very, very nice. All right, let's keep on marching before this silly technology tries to kick us out again. So now we're going to move to our tri-motion stitches. And I'm going to do my best to try to get the camera down there so you can see the action. I got alarm there. I thought our video, and there's our live chat is doing something weird. Hopefully your live chat is working. Mine just kicked out for a second. All kinds of technology issues today. All kinds of technology issues. So again, to adjust the stitching, we want to go to these tri-motion ones now. First thing I have to do is I have to go to a default as far as the stitch length. It's going to tell me to go to 4 for the tri-motion stitches because they need more space as that those feed dogs are manipulating the material. So we're moving our stitch length over to 4 Now we have to move our stitch selector to go over to this stitch right here. So I'm just going to rotate the stitch selector. And now we're on this stitch here, which should be the stretch. What is it? The stretch straight stitch, I think is what that one is. That's the one we'll be doing next. And again, we've got to go with a default as far as the stitch length so that we correlate it with that color to these color stitches for both of them. Okay. All right. So let's check this one out now. And I'll try to get the camera down there so you can watch the action a little bit. Okay. All right. Camera down there. Again, we've laid down some beautiful stitches. We've had all kinds of delays with technology. Shut that light off. We have all kinds of delays with technology, but we've been able to generate some beautiful, beautiful stitching. All right, let's do this tri-motion stitch now. All right, oops, there we go. Okay, that's our tri-motion. It's like a stretch straight stitch is what that is. A stretch straight stitch. And again, our setup is we're using a Schmetz 9014 universal needle with Gutermann 100% polyester general purpose thread. All right, let's see here. Okay, this is our top stitching. I'm just double checking. This is our top stitching. Now you can look at the standard straight stitch and then look at that stretch straight stitch. And it's obvious the difference with that overlay is that the feed dogs manipulate the material to generate that overlay of thread. It's really quite beautiful, really quite beautiful. Yeah, some really, really nice stitching. Again, this machine would have come out in 1968 and was produced for about 10 years until just about 1978. Yeah, really nice. Turn it over, look at our lock stitch. Take a look at that lock stitch now. I like looking at it with the columns. I think it provides a little bit better clarity of the stitch. A little bit better clarity. Beautiful stitching. All right, we're going to do our last tri-motion stitch now. I wanted to get all of the stitches in. Get all the stitches in case we have another technical glitch. That way, at least we've captured all of the stitch output for this machine on one of the 3 live streams that we did today. Just ridiculous. I'm going to have to send a note to T-Mobile. T-Mobile is the one that supplies my my 5G network, and just tell them they need to do a better job, because it wastes a lot of time when their 5G network is not delivering enough upload to support a live stream. All right, so let's go to this final tri-motion stitch. It's going to be this stitch right here. Really quite a lovely one. I'll go ahead and rotate the stitch selector to get that one. And again, whenever you're making a stitch selection, always make sure your needle is clear of the material so that you don't create any damage to the needle. Even a Schmetz needle can get bent. But this is what we've done so far. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful stitching. Beautiful stitching. All right, presser foot is down. We've got our stitch selected. Again, with the tri-motion stretch type stitches, these 2 right here, we don't have any discretion on stitch width on any of them, really. Any of the stitches on this Lotus 1000 are going to be preset as far as width. They're going to be preset as far as width. The only discretion we have on most of the stitches is going to be stitch length. With the exception of these tri-motion ones, then we need to go with a setting of 4 because it presets that stitch length to the appropriate length to accommodate the motion of the feed dogs going back and forth. So the use of this machine is really quite simple. There's not a lot of decisions to make. A lot of the decisions are made for us in advance. All right. So let's do this last tri-motion stitch. I'll get the camera down there so we kind of watch the action. And then we'll see if we can keep the internet going. If we can keep our signal strong, then we'll do some other show-offs beyond this. But I wanted to get the basics done before we have any more technical issues. All right, so here's our last tri-motion stretch stitch. And this is really, really quite a spectacular stitch. I think you'll like it a lot. All right, here we go. All right, I'm going to stop right there. All right, and now what we're going to be looking at is all of the stitches that this Lotus 1000 will do. Again, if you joined us a little bit late, this machine was produced from 1968 until 1978. During that time, it was inducted into the New York Museum of Fine Arts as a display piece in that museum. So if you're out in New York like Candido and others, you can go to that museum and actually see the same model displayed in that museum that you're seeing on this live stream. I should say on these live streams today. Oh my gosh. Boy, have we had a nightmare, haven't we? We have had a tough time today with technology. Technology has been wanting to beat us, but it's not going to beat us. All right, so here's the last tri-motion stitch that we just did, which is really quite amazing. I love this stitch. So these are all of the stitches you're seeing right now are all the stitches of the Lotus 1000. Straight stitch, zigzag, 3-point zigzag, blind hem stitch, a stretch, straight, and then finally this last stitch here on the bottom. Again, is our top stitching. All right, lock stitching. Let's turn it over, look at the lock stitching. And you can tell right away the lock stitching because it shows kind of a quilted effect because the presser foot pressure is causing that material to pucker just a little bit, isn't it? This again is our lock stitching. Turn it like this. It goes without saying the stitch quality is really, really spectacular. I say when a stitch is really, really good and that it's brag worthy. These are brag worthy stitches that this Lotus 1000 is generating. They really are spectacular. And this is it. This is what this machine can offer. We have machines on this channel that have 30 or 40 stitches, some hundreds of stitches. Some of the newer quilting machines in that I presented on this channel. This is all this machine needs to get the job done and to do some amazing projects. It has those two stretch tri-motion stitches. It's got the straight, the zigzag, the blind hem, the 3-point zigzag. You could have a lot more stitches, but it really doesn't need it. It really doesn't need it to generate a great, great, great product. That again is our lock stitching right there. Really amazing stitching. Top stitching. Lock stitching. And I won't claim to know what the criteria is for a machine to be inducted, if that's the correct term, to be inducted into a prestigious museum like the New York Museum of Fine Arts. I have no idea what it takes to get selected, but they obviously thought that this machine was worthy of that distinct honor. And again, I think it's significantly cool that this machine was not a U.S. machine. It was produced for ELNA, which is also a Swiss-based company, but by the Japanese. So that collage of Swiss, Japanese, American, all of those things coming together under one banner opened up the opportunity for this machine to experience that distinct honor and that greatness. Like I said, how many machines can say that they were brought into a museum of that prestigious level? Very, very few. Very, 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 very few. Yep, 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 yep. Okay. if anyone, I just read what Susie had written and what Bill had written. If anyone is willing, if anyone is willing to pull up the reviews that have been done for Cow Country, all you do is Google Cow Country Vintage, and then you'll see the Google reviews. I think we have 22 of them right now. I think we have 22 reviews. If anyone is, this is a big ask. This is a big ask, but you're going to get a big reward. You're going to get a big reward if you're willing to do it. It's a big ask, but you're going to get a big reward. If someone is willing to call me on the live stream right now, if someone is willing to call me and on your computer, on your device, pull up those reviews and read them, I'm going to send you a pair of these Guggenheim, excuse me. I'm stuck on Gutermann thread now. I'm going to send you a set of these Guggenheim professional tailoring shears if you're willing to read the reviews so that we can vote on them and select a winner. Not only will the winner get a pair of these Guggenheim professional tailoring shears, but the person that's willing to call me on the live stream and read them will also get a pair of the Guggenheim professional tailoring shears. I'm giving away the value of $100, $50 a pair for these Guggenheim professional tailoring shears. And they cut leather, they cut anything. They're amazing shears. And I know that's a big ask to have somebody call in to read all of those reviews. We're talking like 22 reviews, but some of them are really short. But if someone's willing to do that, you'll get a pair. You know, I feel like Oprah right now. I feel like Oprah. You know, you get a shear, you get a shear, you get a shear. But I'm going to give away two of these. One to the person that gets the most votes. The other person that's willing to call and read the reviews. If no one's willing to call and read them, then I'll do it. But if someone's willing to do that, I'm willing to give away two pairs of these Guggenheim professional shears. And like Suzanne, the owner of this great Lotus, just said, you can cut knits with them too. You can cut knit material, you can cut canvas, you can cut leather, you can cut anything with these scissors. Matter of fact, I'll tell you what, since the owner has persevered through 3 live streams to see her machine do the dance today, if our internet holds out, and she wants to call me and read them, when she picks her machine up today, when Suzanne picks up her machine today, I will give her a set of these Oh no, she already has a pair. Never mind. Forget that. But maybe she's got a sewing buddy that would love to get a pair. I don't know. But if someone's not willing to call and the owner doesn't want to call and get a second set, then I'll go ahead and read it myself. I'll go ahead and read the reviews myself. We can vote on them and we can pick a winner today for these Guggenheim shears. Yeah. So, I mean, it's up to you all. I like giving stuff away. Most people like getting stuff for free. And so, yeah, that's the deal. But in the meantime, while we still have internet, let's do a little bit more sewing on this really cool machine. All right. I think we'll do some of this, this velvet material now to see how it handles something really light. And I'm going to go ahead and cut it, and we'll do back to back so we can see the stitching. And it's going to be hard to see the stitching a little bit because it's red on red, but I think you'll be able to catch a glimpse of it. The other choice is, do I have some green? I might have some green ribbon. Hold on a second. That would make more sense. Let me see if I can get some green ribbon real quick. Green velvet ribbon. Okay, I got some. I thought I might have some. So this is also, and this is obviously vintage. This is obviously vintage velvet. Vintage velvet. You could buy this at Target back in the day for $1.29. You could buy this at Target for $1.29. A 6-foot roll 2 yards. That's pretty doggone cheap. That's pretty doggone cheap. I don't think you could buy it for that price today. Not even at a thrift shop could you buy it for that price. All right. We'll just do a little stitching down this one. We'll put these back to back so we can see the stitching a little bit more easily. And you know what we'll try to do? It'll be really, I think, a good test of Suzanne's Lotus 1000. We're going to try to repeat the same tri-motion stitch that we just did, but we're going to do it on this 100% velvet material and see how the machine handles it. It's going to be tricky because these are slippery backs against each other. I might have to clip it to hold it in place. We'll see if the feed dogs can handle this. It's going to be a big challenge. I think I'll clip it just to give us a little bit of an edge. Just to give us a little bit of an edge, I think. All right, we'll get that into place, get this into place. I think 2 clips is enough. I'll go with 2 clips on this. We'll go with 2 clips. And this time, because I'm managing this slippery material, I'm not going to try to hold the camera down there. I'll just show you the result after we get done, okay? So this is that same tri-motion stretch stitch, the really cool one that I like a lot. And we're going to try it on this velvet material, 2 pieces back to back, more slippery than can be imagined. But I think that this Lotus 1000 will be able to get the job done. I think this Lotus 1000 will be able to get the job. I'm going to give one more clip on there just in case. All right, let's see how we do with this. A very tricky, very tricky sew off. All right, here we go. Okay, I think I'm far enough down. I'm going to take my clips off now, at least the 2 top ones. And we'll continue this ride. And I will show it to you. I'll try to hold it and kind of steer it a little bit now and give you a close view of it here. Trying to look at the camera here. That is a lot of movement between the feed dogs and the needle as well in generating a stitch of that complexity on such a slippery velvet material. We'll see how the machine did. I'm sure the machine did well. Plus, we have the edge of that Schmetz needle helping us out through that task. But imagine this maybe as a tree trimmer at Christmas time, using some velvet like this in a project and just seeing what you'd be able to put together to make your display, your tree and everything else that much more festive, that much more beautiful. So velvet, and again, we're doing that stretch tri-motion stitch. Really impressed with how well this Lotus 1000 handled such a tricky task. I mean, these 2 being put back to back is like incredibly slippery, incredibly slippery. All right, let's see if we can do it like this. Trying to get the camera to focus on it here. I may have to turn on that overhead light just temporarily. Hold on a second. We'll turn on that overhead light just temporarily. I think that'll help us as far as seeing how it's picking up this velvet. This velvet's a lot harder to see. Try putting it down. Let's see if that helps. There we go. What a spectacular stitch. All right, let's turn it over. Look at the lock stitch. Turn it like this so it's orientated correctly. Actually, it was orientated correctly the other way. This is our lock stitch on this velvet material. Very tricky. And sewing a stitch of this complexity on velvet back to back, if you think that's easy, try it yourself. It's not. It's very, very difficult. But this Lotus 1000 did a spectacular job of managing that stitch nonetheless. Really amazing. Wow. Wow. I wish you could see this in person. When Suzanne sees this in person, she's going to be really, really impressed, I think. Really is quite amazing. Quite an amazing stitch. Amazing stitch outcome. All right, let's try something else. Let's try something else while we still have internet. Hey, we still have internet. We'll try this. Just going to show you those next to each other. That green is a little bit hard to capture with the camera. It's a little bit hard to capture. So this is the Lotus 1000. The Lotus 1000 just doing an incredible job. And imagine how patient this machine has been, waiting for its opportunity to shine as we kept losing internet connection over and over and over and over again. Very, very frustrating. Let's see here. Trying to decide. Since we're having a little bit of success right now with the internet holding out, why don't I let you pick the next material? We've got this vinyl paper. We've got this bubblegum material. We've got this protected full grain leather, saddle grade leather, elk hide, and this denim that has a lot of spandex in it. Lots of spandex. Look at this denim. Denim is not supposed to do that. It's not even natural. I can't imagine a farmer probably wearing denim like this, but maybe they do. I don't know. But denim with spandex, that just strikes me as really weird. Strikes me as really weird. Okay. Let's see. I got a text message before, but I was in the middle of something. Let me see. Let's see who the text message is from. Oh, it's from Robin. Robin from Robin writes an interesting question, doesn't she? She writes, when finishing up stitching and pulling the fabric from the machine, why is it important to pull the fabric out from under the presser foot in a certain direction? Well, for a couple of reasons. Depending on how that needle is orientated and how the eye of the needle is orientated, you don't want to pull against the normal flex of the needle because you could bend it. In other words, if in our instance, for example, we've got the flat side of the needle to the back, which means the eyes of the needle are facing from front to back, then we want to make sure that we don't pull at a wrong angle because we could put pressure on that needle in the wrong direction as that thread is releasing and as we're drawing that material out from underneath the presser foot. I think that's probably the most important reason, is safeguarding the needle. We want to safeguard the needle and not inadvertently bend it. And then when we resume sewing, we end up either scarring the throat plate opening because the needle is operating out of bounds, or we end up, worst case scenario, we end up hitting that hook system and causing damage to the hook. So that would be the main reason, Robin, if that's what you were looking to get an answer to. And Robin, again, is also like Bill and also like Susie from the great state of Minnesota. So hopefully I answered that question to your satisfaction. Let's see what else we have. Robin also asked a question. I just noticed it as I'm looking at my phone because I want to monitor it so I know if something goes crazy. I'm kind of seeing what you guys are seeing. And it looks like because my phone is only 4G, my phone is 4G, my live stream internet is 5G. My phone is actually tracking behind. Hopefully you've got a faster phone service than I do, and yours is tracking in real time, but mine is way behind my phone because I don't have it running off of my 5G network, so it doesn't diminish the bandwidth. I've got it running off of my my phone plan, and my phone plan apparently is pretty crummy. It's pretty crummy because it's tracking way behind right now. Yeah, Susie's bringing up some yeah, I don't know. You can scroll back up. I think someone entered it. And they put down the dimensional differences between this Lotus 1000. Kind of see it here. Difference between this Lotus 1000 and the featherweight. I just had them on the workbench earlier during, I think, the first live stream, or maybe the second, I don't remember. And I was talking about dimensional sizes and actually doing measurements. So you'll want to scroll up and check that out. But really an easy machine to operate. Again, you don't have to deal with stitch width issues whatsoever. The stitch width is going to be built automatically into these stitch outputs. All you have to look at is adjusting stitch length. And for the stretch tri-motion stitches, you're going to have to go with number 4 as a default for the stitch length. It's got that special coloration on it. Stitch selector, reverse. I mean, it's a very easy, user-friendly machine to operate, isn't it? All right, so now we're going to look at multiple layers. It's a smaller machine in overall length than the featherweight, but it's got a motor that is 0.75 amps. Like Susie from Minnesota just pointed out a little bit ago in the live chat, it's going to have almost 2 times the power of the featherweight. Almost 2 times the power of the featherweight. So let's do a little bit of heavier sewing on this machine as well. And I think we'll lay down probably a zigzag. See if I can go back to a zigzag stitch. We'll lay down a nice wide zigzag on some of this denim that has spandex in it. Let's see how many layers I can work out here. That's 2 layers, 4 layers. Why don't we do 6 layers? We'll do 6 layers of this denim spandex material. Let me grab my Guggenheim shears. And no one has called me to read the reviews, so no one apparently wants to win a pair of these Guggenheim shears valued at $50. It's kind of surprising to me, but whatever. So I'm going to lay down a zigzag through these 6 layers of this spandex denim, and then I'm going to follow that up with a 3-point zigzag right next to the regular zigzag as well. Okay. And that's a fairly tight fit. 6 layers of this denim with spandex is a fairly tight fit underneath this presser foot. And the presser foot has a real modest hyperextension, but the real benefit, like I showed you in one of the first live streams, the real benefit to fit something really thick underneath this presser foot is to open this little door again and to look at either dropping the feed dogs by pushing this darning control down, or if you don't want to do that, you can go over to the faceplate area and you can release the presser foot pressure by pushing this to the left and up like that. And now when it's up in this up position, we're able to move that presser foot up and down and fit something crazy thick underneath the presser foot. Right now, there's no pressure on there. So before we go to try to sew this spandex denim, I'm going to push this back down. You push it down and then move it slightly to the front to lock it into place to have presser foot pressure. Okay. So let's go ahead and try this. We're going to do a zigzag, and then we're going to do a 3-point zigzag right next to it on these 6 layers of spandex denim. Again, those just seem like 2 words you should not say together. Denim and spandex, but it is what it is, right? It is what it is. All right, let's give this a go. Going to make sure my take-up arm is all the way at the top. And we'll see if we can get through these 6 layers of this crazy spandex denim. All right, here we go. And I'm doing this with a 9014 Schmetz universal needle. 100% confidence in what this needle can do. 100% confidence. Oh, interesting. Interesting. I got to show you something, and then we'll see if we can get it, if we can correct it. Because like I said, the fit underneath the presser foot was really, really snug. And we just got some good feed. We got some good feed, and we got a great top stitch, but definitely not a good lock stitch. I'll show you what we got. So 6 layers might be a little bit too much because of the clearance. The clearance of the presser foot and the feed dogs is not allowing that material to move naturally. But here's our top stitch. Looks really, really solid. Nice looking top stitch. Very, very good stitch definition. Stitch presentation on the zigzag is spot on. Just what we want to be seeing. Now get ready for the lock stitch. The lock stitch is like, oh my goodness gravy. What happened? What happened? Look at this. So we're going to try 2 things. We're going to try manually adjusting the upper tension up to see if we can overcome this. If we can't overcome it, then we're going to have to drop from 6 layers down to 4. And again, it's knowing the limitations of your machine based on its setup and its design. Based on its setup and design. So you can look at that like that. So we're going to take our upper tension. We're set on 5 right now. I don't know if we're going to have enough range to overcome this obstacle. Up, let's see, 7. So we started on 5. And another quick little tip on this machine. a quick little tip on this machine. When you're trying to adjust your upper tension, don't have your presser foot in the up position like you normally would. You want to have it in the down position so that this dial will move freely. Okay, make sure you have the presser foot lever in the down position so you can move this dial freely. So I'm going to go from 5. Why don't we go to like 7.5? We went from 5. We started right up there on 5. Went to 6. Went to 7. And now we're right about at 7.5. Let's see if that overcomes it. Otherwise, the spandex in this denim, because of the clearance between the bottom of the presser foot and the feed dogs, it'll simply be too much for this 1000 model. It'll be simply too much. But we're going to try it again anyway to see if we can overcome it by adjusting upper tension. We'll see if we can overcome it. Otherwise, we're going to drop down to 4. But this spandex stuff is really kind of a little bit of a nightmare, isn't it? Yeah, it's so tight underneath there right now that there's not a lot of room. There's not a lot of room to maneuver. All right, we're going to try it one more time, and see if we can tighten up that lock stitch. If we're unsuccessful, we'll drop to 4 layers. All right, here we go again. All right, here we go. Yeah, it's too much. Even with that bump up of the upper tension, it's not happy. It's not happy. So I'm going to go ahead and drop us down. See if I can pull this apart. See if I can drop us down to 4 layers instead of 6, so that we've got better feed, and see if we can accomplish the 4 layers. Hopefully we can. But this spandex stuff is just kind of nasty, isn't it? Let's see if we can get 4 layers out of this puppy. All right, so we're going to go for 4 this time. See if that's enough of a reduction that we can get this done. All right, so we're starting with 2 layers. Actually, you know what? Let's do this. Let's do 2 layers, and then we'll bump it up to 4. See if we can make it up to 4 on this this Petite little Lotus machine with a mighty motor. It's not having any trouble getting through the material, but it's having trouble managing it because of that. Because of this. Let's try 2 layers. See what it thinks of that. All right, 2 layers of spandex denim, and then we'll try 4 after that. See if it can get the job done. All right. Okay, here we go. Two layers is a breeze. 2 layers is a breeze. We're going to try 4 after this. Oh my gosh, it's almost 1 o'clock because of all the technical delays. Suzanne is probably sitting in the driveway waiting for me to finish. So this is 2 layers of this spandex denim. Once the camera decides to focus. Two layers of spandex denim. Spin it over. That's our lock stitching. All right, let's bump it up to 4. See if we can pull off 4 layers. Spandex is no joke when it comes to getting through it, but we're going to try to do it. We've got our 2 layers over here. I'm folding this over to get us up to 4 layers. See if we can pull off 4 layers of this spandex denim on this little lotus. This little lotus. All right, here we go. Let's give this a go. And obviously 6 was too much. Let's see if we can get through 4. All right, here we go. And 4 layers, no problem. So it's the limitations, isn't it? As we become more familiar with our machines, the presser foot clearance, the feed system, and everything else, we determine that one machine is more appropriate for another task. If we're going to be sewing through, and most people I don't think would be, I don't think most people would be trying. Oh, Suzanne is in the driveway. I've got to let her in. That's silly to have the owner sitting out there watching the live stream. I'll show this sew off right here that we just did, and then I'm going to go up and get her. So just be patient with me as I bring her in. Oh, hello to Candido as well. Hello to Candido. So we tried the 6, no go. 6 is a no go because of the spandex factor in this denim. We got through 2 layers, no problem. Then we just did 4 layers. This is our 4 layers right here. No problem at all. Let me show it to you. That's our top stitching. Now here's the big deal. Now we're going to look at the lock stitching. The lock stitching. You remember what 6 layers looked like as far as the lock stitching. It was a nightmare. Now we're going to flip it over and look at the lock stitching. Absolutely, page 34. Absolutely spot on. Now, if this were regular denim and not spandex denim, we could probably pull 6 layers off. The machine is more than strong enough to do it. But it's an issue of the clearance between the feed dogs and the presser foot in moving that material and allowing the stitching process to happen naturally with the tension working with it. And it's not going to happen with 6 layers, not spandex anyway. Absolutely gorgeous. So the limitations for this Lotus 1000 on spandex denim, 4 layers. Maybe we could pull off 5, but we definitely are not going to be able to successfully pull off 6. So some beautiful, beautiful stitching. Yeah. All right. Hey, y'all hang tight for a second. Y'all hang tight. I will actually put on some music as an interlude real quick. And I'm going to go rescue the owner from sitting outside of the workshop. All right, hold on a second. Okay, we're back. We're back. We're back. I'm going to stop the dance music. Y'all are probably getting the jitters. Okay, dance music is done. Yay. And we still have internet. It's nothing short of a miracle. Hey.
You know, the closer I got to Oconto, it was really.
It was bad over here?
Yeah.
It must be the area. Okay, let's do this. I'm going to set all my stuff. I just got chaos going on here. All right, let's do this. Here, make the room. Oh, yeah. All right. Well, the owner is here, so now I have to be on my best behavior. I can't do any weird dancing or anything like that. This is Suzanne.
Hello.
You see yourself on camera. You look great on camera.
Probably better than in person.
Yeah. So we're going to continue marching forward with Suzanne's machine. We'll try to do a little bit more sewing here. And I have a chance to show her some of the sew-offs that we did do. Give her a chance to look at these close up.
That's nice. There's an idea for Christmas.
You know, back to back on velvet, because of how slippery the back sides are, it's really pretty impressive that the machine fed it that well, dealing with a stitch with that complexity. Yeah,
I got a bunch of red I could have brought you.
I've got red too, but it wouldn't show up with the red thread.
No, but the same vintage.
Oh, the same vintage, yeah.
That you could
Dollar-
have it for future.
$1.29 for a roll of 6. I bet you'd pay probably $10 for it now.
Sure. Which one did you call the blind hem stitch?
This is kind of the blind. It's kind of a blind stretch right here.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the blind. This is the stretch straight stitch.
Okay.
And I don't know what this is officially called. I call it kind of a catacomb stitch. 3-point zigzag, zigzag, and then straight stitch.
Yeah, use this a lot on the knits when kids were little.
Which one?
This one.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
On
What
knit
did you call it? What kind of stitch did you call it?
stretch.
Just a stretch stitch. Yeah. Okay, so we got a couple more things that we can try, and what I might try to do, depending on how tight are you on time?
I'm fine.
You're good on time. So what we may try to do is we may try to revisit some of the things that we did in the first and the second live stream. Why? Because then I can delete those, and we can just have one live stream instead of three. It's just kind of silly, isn't it? So now what we can try to do, what do I have left? I've got vinyl paper, I've got saddle grade leather, I've got elk hide, protected full grain leather, and bubblegum material. And we could always, let's see. Yeah. We could always do, I think we did all the stitches on cotton. We did all the stitches that the Lotus can do on cotton. We did a light sew off. I love the way that feels. It's so cool. We did the velvet and we did the denim up to 4 layers. So now, oh, Susie from Minnesota was saying, nice to meet you. Glad you're back. Candido from New York. I don't know what's going on today, Candido, but Suzanne said as she was traveling here that the cell service, the whatever, was getting worse. Must have some technical things going on in this area today, because our last couple of live streams were flawless. We didn't have any issues with things dropping or video freezing or anything like that. But I was a little bit nervous when I checked my speed this morning. I always check it before I do a live stream, and my upload was much, much lower than it was supposed to be. And I was thinking, boy, I hope we don't have issues. And we did. Maybe I jinxed us, but what do you think, Suzanne? What should we do? We've got. I'll kind of show it to you.
Leather. Do at least one of the leathers.
You want to see saddle grade, or you want to do protected, or what do you think? And what stitch do you want to see?
Oh, does it matter?
Well, you pick a stitch. We can do a straight, a zigzag. We can do a 3-point zigzag. This is kind of what I'm calling the blind hem right here.
Okay.
And then we've got these 2 stretch stitches that are tri-motion. So.
Well, this would be a tri-motion one, definitely.
Which one?
This one?
That's bubblegum.
Yeah.
We can do that.
So you'd use it tri-motion on that.
So which tri-motion do you want to try? Which tri-motion do you want to try?
The triple. The triple action.
We went from 5. We started right up there at 5. Went to 6. Take my volume down again. Okay. Are we still getting good video and audio with the technology issues today? Can everybody hear us and see us? Everyone can see and hear, okay? Oh, the other live streams are not showing up yet. Interesting. We might do the measurements again real quick while Suzanne is here, because I think that's cool, comparing this to the featherweight. And she's not real tight on time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 2 layers of this bubblegum material. Actually, it's stretchy this way. You can see why I call it that. What do you think this is made out of, Suzanne?
Ooh. Boy, I don't know my fabrics anymore.
Some sort of vinyl, isn't it?
It's definitely. Because you use it on seats and stuff like that.
Cover sheet, almost like the Naugahyde stuff they used to use.
Yeah.
So it's a Naugahyde knockoff, maybe, huh? Maybe it's a Naugahyde knockoff. I'm hoping we didn't just lock up and spin. No, I think we're okay. Okay. All right. So we're gonna. Which one did you want to see again, Suzanne?
Triple. Yeah, that.
This one, the one you used on the kids' clothes and everything. Yeah. Okay.
That shows up.
Go with the default. Okay, so what we're going to be doing now, we're going to be using this stitch that Suzanne would have used a lot to do mending and other things like that back in the day. We're going to do 2 layers of this bubblegum material. Kind of go down that. That's a huge piece, isn't it? I could probably cut that down just a little bit. Kind of fold it over like this. And hopefully I can keep it together. I'm not going to put any clips on it this time, which may end up being a mistake. All right, presser foot is down. Now I did bump up our upper tension quite a bit when we were doing that spandex type denim. I probably can adjust it down just a little bit again, because I don't think we're going to need that much pull. If we're pulling too hard on the lock stitch, we're going to lose some of the top stitch. So I'm going to rotate it down a little bit, get us back down more in the 5 range. Get us right about there, I think. And I'll leave it just a little bit over, just because we're going to go to some of the leather after that, and that might require a little bit more pull up when we do that. So, all right, so let's do this bubblegum material now. And we'll see how it manages this. And again, I probably should clip these. You would clip these, wouldn't you, Suzanne? Or not? Just hold it?
I'd probably just hold it.
We're just gonna hold it. We're gonna live dangerous.
Yes.
It's been a dangerous day with internet. We might as well just continue dangerous again. So this could be, Susie from Minnesota is asking, could this be a spandex? I don't think so. Maybe, but it stretches more like a vinyl would, so it's hard to say. We're not sure. We'll just call it the mysterious bubblegum material. So the mysterious bubblegum material. And Candido out in New York says, all is well. That's good to hear. Good to hear. New York. I don't know if you saw that reel, Candido, but I just posted a reel on a machine made by the Minnesota Sewing Machine Company with a New York badge mark that's going to the paint shop now. So that'll be fun. All right, so here we go. Let's give this a go. Everything's set properly. Again, when you're doing either one of these stretch type stitches, the tri-motion stitches, either this one or this one, you've got no discretion on stitch width, but on the stitch length down here, you have to set it on 4 because it's that default for that particular pattern. It needs that wider span to generate that tri-motion feed dog action. Otherwise, you remember that one time we ran one with it too short and it just turned out really weird. All right, here we go. I don't know what you can hear over the camera. I've got a fairly good microphone, but this is such a sweet running machine. It really, really, truly is. I think our upper tension might still be a little bit high, but I think we got pretty good balance. Okay, so I'm going to do what I normally do. Instead of showing it to all of you, I'm going to show it to Suzanne, and we'll watch her looking at it.
Oh, love that stretch.
Isn't that crazy?
Yes, that's awesome. Because half the time I would do this and test it and it would bust because I didn't have the tension correct.
The tension's tricky with this stuff. You're dealing with a material that has so much play to it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Well, look at how well your machine did.
Yeah, a couple of skips, but
oh, I didn't even notice that.
But I would call it. I'd call it very good.
I'm going to sew it one more time.
You know,
unless we have a little barb on the needle. Let's try to sew it one more time. And that's on the lock side, isn't it? Oh, right there, right there.
Yeah.
A couple little points. That's probably when I was sewing a little bit faster with it. So I'll show all of you because we already looked at it. We're going to sew it one more time. I was sewing a little bit faster rate.
Yeah.
The second time, and it may have caused us problems.
A little skip.
So we're going to stitch it one more time. And again, I mean, even a Schmetz needle can run into issues, possibly. But we'll try stitching it one more time. I'll keep the rate of speed down a little bit more. And we'll see if we can pull it off this time flawlessly with this, this stretch style stitch. All right, take up arm all the way up. All right, here we go. Second round, second round. There we go. Yeah, it was, well, nope, we still got a little bit of a, right there in the end. Could be the material, could be the needle. What I want to do real quick, you guys, is I'm just going to switch out this needle. We might have a little barb on the end of it. I don't see anything. I don't feel anything, but oops. I think the needle was fine. Suzanne looked at it too. I don't know if I normally do back to back on this bubblegum material. So maybe what I'll do is I'll cut another piece and I'll run through a single layer of it to see if it might be the same issue we were having with that spandex denim stuff. Yeah, because it's consistent all the way across, but it seems to, the 2-layer factor might be giving it a little bit of difficulty. Let me cut another piece. Actually, I've got some right here. Okay, let's try this again. There's something down in the bobbin case, actually. I'm going to change materials real quick, you guys, and set the bubblegum material to the side. See if we get the same issue. Because we didn't have any issues with that stitch as far as the cotton. But it's not liking the bubblegum material. So let's try this. And this is going to be red against blue, so hopefully we can see it okay. The thread is not turning. How is it? I missed that, what that was. Whoever's texting right now, just give me a second. Oh, we've got a gumball here. Hold on a second. See that? I should have left the owner in the car.
Yeah, in the heat. First it's technology, then it's the owner. What are you going to do next?
All right, whoever was texting me, just give me a second here. The nature of the beast. Make sure I got that needle all the way up in the socket too. All right. See, this is why some people don't live stream. Well, talk a little bit, Suzanne, about when did you acquire this machine? Do you remember what year?
I don't remember what I told you.
1960s, I know that.
No, it was after I was married.
Did you get it new or used?
I got it new, but from what you said when it was made,
68 to 78 is what they
Yeah.
said.
and it was after I had kids, so it had to be in the 80s.
So maybe at the latter stage of when they had this then.
Well, and I'm wondering because it was off of the auction from the public television.
Oh, maybe been there sitting for a while or something.
Yeah, it was one that they couldn't get rid of. But I'm glad they couldn't. Maybe 82. Likes that much better.
It's happy with the cotton, isn't it?
Is Jenny talking about needles? Oh, yep, she is. I have the Schmidt's needle and fabric chart.
Who has it?
Jenny.
Oh, yeah, I do too. I've got a copy of it. That was one of the things Susie had sent to me. Curious how it'll like this vinyl paper. It doesn't like that stuff for sure. Have you ever sewn on vinyl paper before?
No. Go ahead.
Should I try something else crazy? Now we're going to try vinyl paper since it doesn't like vinyl stuff. It likes cotton, that's for sure. It likes denim up to 5 layers. I wonder why that spool is just not spinning well, is it? Let's try putting it the other way. I don't think it's going to like this either.
It just likes woven material, huh?
It definitely doesn't like this. So note self, Lotus 1000 does not like anything with nylon. Apparently, it's not happy with it at all.
No, but I'm glad you tried it, and I didn't buy a bunch and try it at home.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, did I create a mess, you guys? That's okay. Yeah, so this is actually helpful because it's showing Suzanne all the stuff not to do with this machine. See? Making sure we got our hook clear. Certain days, right? Okay, one of you before it sent me a text message. I'll take a look at it now once I get this. So yeah, don't sew vinyl paper on this machine either. Note to self, okay? Don't sew vinyl paper.
Now I need to know why someone would want to sew vinyl paper.
Just as a craft project, really,
Oh, gotcha.
for fun.
I see it.
Yeah, I got that at the
Yes.
Dollar Tree. But I'm thinking maybe sewing.
Huh. Yeah, no, it's not like that at all.
You guys know me. I'm determined. I don't give up easily. I got to try it one more time, but I'll put the rougher side down this time. I think we encountered this once before. Once before we tried this. Nylon, yeah, universal. You're right, Jenny. A universal needle should be able to handle nylon-based material, but we're dealing with a very complex stitch with the tri-motion, and I think that factor is what's causing issues for us with this. If we shift over to a more utility stitch, we may not experience the same difficulties. Well, you guys know how stubborn I am. So I had to sew this vinyl paper one more time using the same stitch, but this time, instead of putting that slippery surface down, we had this surface facing down so I could do it back to back. Instead of doing it with a slippery surface down, these feed dogs are good feed dogs, but they just aren't able to grip it. I put the rough paper side down, and look at the result we got. I'll show it to the owner first, just for fun.
That's nice. Now to think of a craft project.
Now she's thinking of a craft project. I'm thinking of a bigger hammer to whack this Lotus with.
It'll be out of here soon.
Let's see if you can see it against this shiny material here.
There you go. Awesome.
Put it like this, maybe. See, the shininess doesn't help either, does it? Let me put it like this, see if we can see it against there. That's not good either. Camera angles along with technology is enough to give you a headache, isn't it? Yeah. There we go. It only takes 2 or 3 adjustments sometimes. Ah, ah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, nothing skipped.
Yeah, the machine is fine, but you know, any machine is going to have limitations when it comes to the hook system, the feed dogs, and everything else. So there's certain things machines will like, there's certain things they will not like. And this again is vinyl paper. You can buy it in rolls of 12 inches, I think it is. at the Dollar Tree. Every color that you can imagine. Every color you can imagine. It's just kind of a fun project. And here's the lock stitch on the back. You can actually see the punch through of the paper. That's kind of cool, isn't it? We'll get a note from Schmetz Needle saying, don't sew paper with our needles. Paper with our needles. There it is. So yeah, I mean, like I say it all the time, the owner that has a machine is going to have a greater intimacy with it. They're going to know its likes, its not likes, and even sometimes changing threads, or like Jenny had been saying, maybe trying a different needle with different types of materials that the machine is struggling with can also be beneficial as well. Maybe if we tried a Microtex needle with this bubblegum material, we might get a different outcome because the machine is stitching perfectly. It's just a matter of the thread in conjunction with the needle, how it's interacting with that particular sew off. I'm almost terrified to try, but you know me, I don't give up. I don't give up. Just like this bubblegum material, I'm inclined to try more of a utility stitch on it just to see if we can get a different outcome on it. So I think we'll rotate it back to one of the utility stitches. 3-point zigzag is one possibility. Or we could try to do what I'm calling a blind hem. What do you call that one, Suzanne?
I don't think I've ever used it.
We're going to try the 3-point zigzag on this bubblegum material to see how it responds to that. See if we can get a positive outcome from that. And I'm going to adjust down my stitch length because it's not one of the stretch stitches. So we're going to make it pretty tight. We're going to go to right around 3 on stitch length. And we'll try this 3-point zigzag with this bubblegum material because I don't want this bubblegum material to beat up this great machine that was inducted into the New York Museum of Fine Arts, or whatever I said earlier during one of the earlier live streams before I blacked out. Literally. All right. Yeah, let's give a utility stitch a try on this. Then we'll know all the wants and the likes and everything else in between on this model 1000. All right, let's give this a go. 3-point zigzag, 2 layers of bubblegum material. After all of the challenges, we're not giving up. Are you kidding? We're just warming up. Here we go. Definitely didn't make it short enough. Did not make that short enough. Yeah, it's a beautiful. I'll show it to Suzanne first.
Well, that looks good. I don't see a problem.
And that's more of a utility stitch, isn't it? That's more of a utility stitch. What is this other one? Let's see. I'm going to keep pushing the boundaries here, y'all. I'm going to keep pushing the boundaries. All right. Now we're going to try a stretch straight stitch on this bubblegum material. A stretch straight stitch. Let's see how it handles this. And I'll show these both to you at the same time. And look, I'm launching with the take-up arm almost halfway down. Got to bring it all the way to the top. All right, let's give this a try.
It stretches. Okay, another lesson learned. You can use a straight stitch.
Well, this is a stretch straight stitch.
Yeah.
So this is what we just did, you guys. I'll show you. This is that bubblegum material that was giving us a challenge when we tried doing that other stretch style stitch, the one that Suzanne said she used a lot on the kids' clothes back in the day. But this is a stretch straight stitch, and it stretches, and the machine likes it. Kind of like Mikey likes, like the cereal commercials. And we made a mountain range at the same time, not even intending to. It focuses in its own time.
Yeah.
It's saying, I'm not ready to focus yet, man. Not ready. Point it more down. I think maybe it likes that better. Turn it over. Check out the lock stitch. And like Suzanne had noted, watch, we go like this. See that? We don't give up. It's going to give us all kinds of kicks and challenges, but we're not going to give up. No way. How long have we been running? Let's see. This one, upper left, 2 hours.
Yeah.
2 hours and 7 minutes. And we haven't gotten disconnected yet either. Yay. 5G network. Not impressed. Let's see here. View messages. Oh, Susie got all the Lotus. Alex is asking if gears are. That was an earlier message. I got all the Lotus and featherweight measurements typed into. Oh, thank you. Susie from Minnesota again. I was drawing that comparison between Suzanne's Lotus 1000 and a featherweight 221, just showing I think the obvious benefits of the Lotus over the featherweight in many respects. Plus, it's I didn't weigh this machine, but it's a very lightweight machine as well. And Susie typed all of the measurements into the live chat again. So thank you for doing that. Because you look at the harp space on this compared to the featherweight, it's almost embarrassing for Singer because the space on the featherweight harp between the needle and the pillar, top to bottom, front to back, you better pull your elbows in. That's all I'll say. There's not a lot of space to work with. See another chat. Oh, that was your okay. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we didn't burn the workshop down, but we're trying,
Yeah.
We're trying. We're giving it the old Yale try. Okay. Let's see here. Expand that. I think that was it. Yeah, it's really a quiet. If you're right here in the workshop next to Suzanne and myself, it's kind of ridiculously quiet. It has just a little bit of a wind up as it's kicking in because, again, remember, if you looked at that one reel where I showed the right side of this machine with the cover off, this has a belt-to-belt type system. And so you're transferring power from the motor up to a pulley and then from a pulley up to the balance wheel. So it's kind of a two-step process on this Lotus 1000. So you'll kind of hear it engage, but it's not a loud engagement. It's just like hey, let's get it done. Let's get it done. What else do we have that we can mess around with? So we've got elk hide. Dare we try elk hide with all of the challenges of the day? Dare we try it? Yeah, why not? I think we'll probably stay towards the utility stitches on the elk hide, just because we're not totally crazy, maybe a little. So we'll try. Why don't we try a zigzag and see how the tension balance stays in line? We're only at 5 right now. I think we'll bump it up a little bit to hedge our bet a little bit. Go up to about maybe 6.5 in that realm. Give us a little bit more pull. And I'll show you from the side. It's not a light sew off. See if I can do it like this so you can see it more easily. Probably close to 5 ounces of leather. Let me show it to Suzanne as well so you can kind of see it.
Oh, wow.
And she might say, don't you dare sew that on this sewing machine. Don't you dare. You're going to have to repair it again.
Well, it's in the right place.
Son of a nutcracker. What do you... Oh, my gosh. We have fun even amid all the challenges. Just laugh, laugh instead of cry, right? All right, let's try a zigzag, and I'll probably shorten up the stitch length just a little bit. I was at 4 before. I'll bring us down to 3. And again, we can't do anything about the stitch width. The machine is going to determine that for us. So we'll see how it likes leather on the elk side. See how it likes leather on the elk side. Bring my take-up arm all the way up. And again, this comes with a 0.75 amp motor. 0.75 amps, again, is almost twice the power of the featherweight. So I don't think I'll need a hand start. I'm just going to launch into it, and we'll see how this Lotus 1000 does with elk hide. And again, we're going to be trying a zigzag stitch on it. Okay, here we go. Wow. See that we can struggle with little things sometimes, and then we give it a task like this where we would expect. I mean, this is a petite machine. It's a small little machine, shorter in overall length than the featherweight with the bed down. And we just went through elk hide, no hand start.
Yeah, wow. And no tension problems.
Well, we bumped it up a little bit before we launched with it. We bumped it up a little bit to give it a little bit of an edge, because that lock stitch is a little bit harder to get that thread to come back up. Some really, really pretty stitching there. And it's only a utility stitch, but nonetheless, we're dealing with needle swing going through almost 5 ounces of elk hide. I'm happy. Very, very happy. Beautiful stitching. So can a Lotus 1000 sew genuine elk hide? The answer is yes. And again, we have a Schmetz universal needle. If we were to put a Schmetz leather needle in, we could even probably raise up that bar a little bit higher. Really quite lovely. Look at the side again of what we just went through. It's not a light sew off at all. Lock stitch. Try to get kind of close so you can see it. And like Suzanne said, no tension issues, but we anticipated it, didn't we? We were at 5. We bumped it up to about 6.5, knowing we were going to be contending with this elk hide. And we could have even gone to 7 probably, because it's a nice looking zigzag lock stitch, but it could be just a tiny little bit tighter. But you know, I'm always raising the bar, so I mean that's my look at it. But it really is quite nice. And again, without a leather needle, without the benefits of a leather needle. That's a belt. Look at that edge right there we went through on the end. Leather is going to vary in thickness when they cut it from the hide. That's the equivalent of a belt right on the end there. That's crazy. Crazy and fun. Very cool. Very cool. Yes. You know what? I got to do it. One last thing I got to do. I've got to do a 3-point zigzag on this as well. It's going to be hitting the same needle point twice. Twice, or is it 3? 3 point. Bump. 3 points. We're getting 1 extra today, and you're not having to pay for it. It's a 3-point zigzag. So we're going to be doing a 3-point zigzag now, going down the same elk hide. We'll see if we can pull this off. It's going to be pushing the boundaries a little bit, I think, but we're gonna try it nonetheless. We're going to try it nonetheless. All right, so let's make an adjustment on our stitch selector. We're going to be going from a standard zigzag to a 3-point. At least I call it a 3-point. We'll have to see if we can count it when it's going and just confirm that it's hitting it 3 times. We make it a little bit shorter, probably like right around 2.5. 2.5, according to friends of mine that are big time quilters, 2.5 is like the go-to number on stitch length for most quilters. They're generally always going to be at a 2.5. So we're going to do 2.5. We're going to do the 3-point zigzag going down elk hide to see what we get out of this. If this little lotus can pull this one off, yeah, I'm pretty doggone happy. Pretty doggone happy. All right, take-up arm. Wow, take-up arm is way down there. Get it all the way up. Get a good solid launch, and we'll see how it handles this. This is kind of tricky when you're talking about this much leather going through with a non-leather needle. So, at any rate, I'm getting delirious. So let me just sew and shut up, okay? All right, here we go. That's really long. I thought I could get even shorter than that. Oh, yeah. Very nice. We're going to do one more just for fun, for kicks and giggles. But I'm going to make this one a lot shorter so we can tighten this up. And then we'll look at all 3 of them on this elk hide. The other thing I'm noticing is we've got to change directions a little bit on this stitch because we're getting some good definition on the lock stitch, but we're getting a little bit weaker top stitch. So before I stitch it again, what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to back off our upper tension just a little bit, get us closer to that 5 mark, so we can get a little bit better definition on the top stitch. A little bit better definition on the top stitch. All right, and I'm going to adjust that stitch length down even further than we are right now. So we're going to go down close to 1, right above 1, I think. Right about there. Let's give it a try again. We've made an adjustment on upper tension from about 6.5 in that range, just to a little bit above, a little bit below 5. So it's like 5 point something. And now we're going to over here on stitch length, almost down to about 1.5. right in that neck of the woods, 1 1/4. We'll lay down the same 3-point zigzag, and so we can pull it off again on this elk hide. And yes, I will give Suzanne a brand new needle, I promise. Because I'm going to kill this needle, even though it's a Schmetz needle. I'm going to kill it. All right, here we go again. I'm going to check. And look at it. See, I almost did it again, y'all. I'm getting frazzled. Take-up arm is like down in Louisiana. And we need to get it up to northern Texas. See, it's way down there. So we need to bring it up, 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 up. Right about to there. See, then we're on the downstroke. We'll get a nice solid launch, and then I'll show these stitches to you. But I wanted to adjust that upper tension because this stitched fine, but it's weak on the top stitch. So we'll see if we brought some of that back, hopefully. All right, here we go again. Oh, yeah, that's more of what I was looking for. There we go. There we go. You'll notice the difference right away in how that top stitch is presenting with just that little adjustment on the upper tension. We had kind of a muddied look on the longer one, and then we went back the other way, and we tightened it up very, very nicely.
Okay. I had to look, but I know. Yeah, I see it.
You see the difference?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. The difference really being that we should see that stitch definition, top and bottom, they should be pretty balanced. And on the first one we did, this one, it's muddied, it's weak. But on the back side, if you look real close, the lock stitch has much more definition on the stitching. So all we did is kind of bring it. And I use this sometimes. I don't know about anyone else. Where did I put it? I did have a magnify glass when we started the first live stream like 10 hours ago. Oh, the big one. I was looking for a small one. Oh, here it is. Yeah. See, that helps me sometimes to see to make sure that the balance, depending on the material, is even closer to being equal top and bottom. On the first one, it was kind of muddied, and then we shortened it a little bit, but we also tightened it up as well so that it's more balanced.
Yeah, I can really tell it now.
But I always say the ideal situation, you're not always going to get it. The ideal situation is that when you look at the stitching, apart from seeing that one side has nap and one side doesn't, the ideal situation is that these stitches are almost indistinguishable between the lock and the top. They should be so close in how they present that people should look at them and go, which one is which? That's the ideal situation. So I appreciate everyone's patience, but I want the owner to see it first so that she can say, oh yeah, I see what you did. Kind of like that bubblegum material where we did that stretch straight stitch. And she's like, I've never seen that before. Or however Suzanne said it, it was just something, it was different. And it was cool, you know? Just showing you the edge again. That's pretty doggone thick stuff. Here's our lock stitch on the back. I'll try to get nice and close so you can look at that as well, if the camera cooperates. There we go. Well, you can see the drastic change. The drastic change, and then also how the stitch presents. I'm sure that if we were to look at this manual, I don't remember, Suzanne, did you bring a manual or did I get a manual with this donor machine?
No, there should have been one with it.
So this is Suzanne's original manual then. And I'm sure it has recommended settings, but you know what? It's like a roadmap. Who actually reads them? Who can put them away? Nobody. So, but I like the way you can take a 3-point zigzag like this and you can change the appearance of it just dramatically. It looks like a totally different stitch, but it's exactly the same stitch. All we did was manipulate stitch length. All we did was manipulate stitch length, and we can get something that has a totally different appearance in the way it presents, can't we? Kind of fun, isn't it? Yeah, that's thick stuff. That's very thick. So what I'll do real quick, because I think, unless Suzanne, do you want to see something else with you here? We did all the stitches on it, on the cotton. We've done leather, we've done denim, we've done bubblegum material. We did velvet. We even did this odd little vinyl paper stuff.
Yeah.
Anything else you can think of? Because I probably have something here. Then we know if your machine likes it or not.
Unless you have satin.
Satin. I might have satin.
Or light like that.
I have like a pillowcase made out of satin. Let's see here. I feel like I should get paid some sort of royalty from the Dollar Tree, because this is from the Dollar Tree too. And it's a satin pillowcase. I bought like about 20 of these when they had them then, because I thought we would do something with them. I really need adult supervision. You guys know that by now, right? You know that. I think I was exaggerating. I maybe bought 15. Maybe 15 of them, but no more than that. I mean, you don't need that much satin, do you really? So,
Black too.
and it's black. Who planned that? Not me. Let's see. How many layers of it should we try?
Well,
And what kind of stitch?
Well, I was just thinking of, I have like a dress at home to make things like that. And what do I use?
Is it 2 layers or?
Yeah, it'd be 2 layers.
So why don't we take this little edge that's already kind of pre-stitched
go.
on there, to save us a little bit of extra work. Let's work smart, not hard. We've had enough challenges today, but that's okay. People watch that channel and they go, that guy just doesn't give up. What kind of medication does he take? What kind of medication does that guy take? And I've got to brag again about these Guggenheim things, man. I'm cutting down this stuff. I probably shouldn't cut that little label, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm just cutting down this, and you can almost push them through it. It's just crazy. And if you don't, you may not remember this because we have a lot of live streams, but Suzanne actually got a pair of these. And she's like, yeah, I'm liking them. I'm liking them.
I love them.
They do the job, that's for sure. And these are made in China. You know, we beat up China quite a bit about they make cheap products and us dumb Americans buy them, but they also make some really good quality stuff too. They really, truly do.
They're supposed to be coming out with pinking shears. I need those too.
From Guggenheim?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. So what kind of stitch do we do on this satin? What stitch would you do at home on your dress?
Well, it'd be some sort of straight stitch. But like for tension and what, I'm lost. I usually have to adjust quite a few times.
Let's see what we can come up with here. It's got like a little seam right there. Let's get rid of that. Okay, so what we're going to try now, we're going to try a couple of different stitches on this 100% satin. It's designed as a pillowcase. It's no longer going to be a pillowcase now. We better have more of them. I think I have like 12 more, 13 maybe. So we're going to try this satin now. We're going through just 2 layers of it. And again, on this machine, we can mess around with this adjustment over here. But other than that, we really don't have any pressure foot adjustment. So we have to trust the machine, kind of like trust the force, Luke. And we'll see how it does with this material. This is a real thin sew-off. Not a lot of room for that knot to play. So we'll see. See, 5. What I might do is I might just, let's see, lock, bump, bump. I might just back off this tension. We're on 5 right now, a little bit above 5 actually. We're going to back it down so that we're almost square on 5, which is kind of the default for this Lotus 1000. Move it right to 5. We're going to try that first. And what do you think? Should we do a standard straight or should we go to that stretch straight and see how it handles that?
I guess maybe a stretch.
Let's do a stretch. We're going to use a stretch straight on this. Just see how it responds. That's going to be this one right here. So we've got to move our stitch selector over to that way. That'll get us on the stretch straight. And then remember, we have to adjust our stitch length. We were way down to 1.5 on that last 3-point zigzag we did. Now we have to go back to the default on this Lotus 1000 to the number 4, which is designed for those stitches that are going to have a little bit more because of that tri-motion on the feed dogs. And we'll see how it handles this. I have no idea how it's going to handle it, quite honestly. We might be back to bubblegum material. We might have a great outcome. So I'll just try to keep it stable. I never sew straight, so don't have that expectation. But I'm going to give it my best, okay? Take-up arm is in a good position. Let's give this a try, see what we think. I don't like the way that thread turns on this machine. It must be too high profile or something. Maybe I need to move it. All right, let's stop right there. So this will be fun to look at because it's going to be a bright red Gutermann thread, 100% polyester against this this satin. And I'm really glad you know, you buy things and then you end up going out and buying them again. That's kind of like me with pillowcases. I can only imagine that I probably have closer to public acknowledgement and confession. I probably have closer to 30 pillowcases because I went out and got them and I thought, hey, they're here again. And I ended up getting them again. So that was probably not good. Yeah, I think our decision to back off the upper tension was good. We got a good balance. I'm going to let Suzanne look at it, then I'll show it to you. So you can.
I'm surprised at what it can do.
Say that again. I don't know if you said it so softly.
Oh, I said I'm surprised at what it can do.
Yeah. Our machines, isn't it fun when our sewing machines can surprise us?
Yeah.
They can surprise us, and we're dealing with a satin here. Satin is not a super easy material to sew. We don't have any control really over the feed dog. The presser foot pressure is what I meant to say. We don't have any choice about the presser foot pressure. There we go. Now it's focusing in. So 100% satin, 100% satin with a stretch straight stitch. And this Lotus 1000 did a fabulous job. Fabulous job. I'm going to go vertical now. I like looking at it like that. It's kind of fun. Yeah, really quite lovely. And the great thing about with such a thin sew off on a slippery satin like this is we maintain good tension not only here on top, but look at the back. Turn that around so you can see that right side up or right upside down or whatever. We also maintain some very good tension on the bottom. We might have been a little bit heavier on the lock stitch. We backed it off to 5. We might have been able to back it off even a little bit further. But all in all, where I will miscalculate something, the machine has made up for it very nicely. And it's also been very clear in telling me what it doesn't like too. Here, let's do it like this. Lock stitch. Oops. Top stitch. Yeah. We had so much success with that. I almost was tempted to say, "Hey, let's try the other stretch stitch too," but that's going to be a little bit overkill, I think, with what it's going to be expecting this satin. Hey, can you just stiffen up a little bit, satin, and can you cooperate for this one sew off for us? Can you do that? But we can lay down a utility stitch on it. Maybe we'll lay down another 3-point zigzag, one of my favorites, or maybe even what I'm calling kind of a blind hem stitch, and see how it presents on this satin just for fun. So we're going to be changing our stitch selector again from this stitch over here, this straight stretch stitch, and we're going to be heading back the other direction again. And that's actually the stitch that I wanted to do right there. It's kind of a blind hemish stitch, but maybe not. Maybe it's not. Kind of look at this zigzag here, and it's showing you various widths. So you're looking at it almost initially and it's going, is that a zigzag? But it is. So maybe that is a blind hem. We'll give that one a try again. And we'll go to, let's see here. Why don't we go to 2.5? We'll go to the quilter's preference, 2.5 on stitch length. And we'll try laying down this, this blind hem type stitch on this satin material as well, right next to our stretch straight stitch, and see if we can have success again with a material that's kind of tricky. So we'll give it a go. We're not easily frightened, so maybe a little, but we're not giving up yet, doggone it. No way. All right, here we go. Oh, see what I almost did? Take up arm. It's down in South Dakota. South Dakota's high. Let me pick another state. All right. There we go. That's where it's supposed to be. I think I should be on that other spool pin. Oh, that's fun. Satin is, I don't know if some of you watching right now might have never sewn on satin before. It just hasn't come up as a project, but you can pick it up again in a pillowcase format at the Dollar Tree and give it a go. See what you think. And then you can be a little bit more brave than I was, and you can shorten it up more so that you can make that a little bit more pronounced. I don't think that's a blind hem. I don't know what that is. That's interesting. I'll have to look at the book. They're calling it a blind or an edging stitch.
Oh.
So it is a type of
is.
blind hem, but it's,
Yeah.
I made it too long and that's why it looks weird. The stitch length was too long. Should have gone down to closer to 1.
Oh, should look more like that, huh?
Yeah, 3-step zigzag, zigzag
Yeah,
stitch, straight
yeah.
stitch. Yeah.
Hmm.
So it is
Okay.
a sort of blind hem, but maybe it's a Japanese blind hem.
There we go.
That's possible.
Very much. Oh, nice.
So this is our blind hem, but I left the stitch length too long. The stitch length is too long, and so it doesn't, you know, I was talking about the pattern, you need to compact the pattern a little bit, make it tighter. This is too loose for a blind hem. But it's still lovely. Still a lovely stitch. This satin is so flimsy, I'm trying to get a grip on it. I'm not doing so well. And see, we can take this same stitch. We did it at a setting of 2.5. And as a last stitch on this satin, we can try it one more time, but we'll shorten it up dramatically. And then all of a sudden that blind hem stitch appearance will come into view a lot clearer, I think. And then we can move towards wrapping this up. I don't know what our run time is. 2 hours and 2:37. And this is one of 3. So God knows how long we ran on the other ones. But yeah, what do they say? When you love doing what you're doing, it doesn't feel like work.
Just what they're talking about.
Yeah. All right, so now we're going to take this same stitch. We're going to do it one more time on this 100% satin. I'll show it to you like this as well. You can see it from this view in the camera. But now we're going to take that stitch length and we're going to go wild. We're going to go all the way down to right around 1.5. A little bit, actually, we'll go even a little bit further. We'll go to just a little bit below 1, kind of like 1.25, I guess that would be, or something. Let's try it one last time and see how we can change the appearance of that same stitch. Kind of like we did with the 3-point zigzag, where we did the same stitch and gave it a totally different look. And that's where if you've got a sewing machine that doesn't have a bazillion stitches, who cares? When you can change stitch width or you can change stitch length, you have almost an unlimited supply of stitches. All right, get my take-up arm all the way up. All right, here we go. Unless the owner wants some other stitching, this will be our last stitch, and then I might recap real quick on some of the electrical stuff, if that's okay, Suzanne. And that way we can delete the other 2, and we'll use this as our banner live stream for Suzanne's amazing Lotus 1000. All right, let's give this a try again. Here we go. You know what I'm going to do first? And this is, again, where the owner has insights that I don't. Thread over here. And this Gutermann thread it's spinning unevenly. At one point, it just went kind of nutso. And Suzanne said, I usually put it over there. So let's move it over to here and see if it turns a little bit more evenly. See if it goes a bit more that direction. All right, here we go. Let me angle that down. All right, we have 0.75 amps, right? Almost twice the power of the featherweight. I'll finish off this last little jaunt with just a little bit more gumption. A little bit more gumption. Yeah, Susie, you nailed it. I'm reading what you said. The owner knows the machine. And don't I say that all the time? Owners are going to have a greater level of intimacy with the machine than I could ever hope to have in the brief time that it's in the workshop. So yeah, it's a blessing to have an owner here, because then they can say, this is kind of what I do. And it gives you insight. So I'm not going to go pedal to the metal, but let's hear a little bit more of that 0.75 amp motor. Okay. All right. Lock and load. Yeah, we didn't go crazy. Just a little pa. Should have had polka music on, Oh yeah, that's cool. We totally changed the look of that stitch, Suzanne.
Oh yeah. I thought it was going to pucker, but it didn't.
A little, just a tiny little bit, but all in all, it fed. The machine feeds really well. It does a really good job of.
That would iron out. That wouldn't be a problem. That is nice. I'm glad you did that.
Yeah, and it's a little bit of a different zigzag, or excuse me, a little bit different of a blind hem, but it's still quite spectacular, don't you think?
I might actually use that.
See, the middle one, we had it kind of stretched out. The stitch length was too long. We had it at about 0.5, and then we took it down just below 1. We could have gone further. But this satin is a little tricky to sew. Look at it like this, too, if we can do that. Is anyone else seeing the sparkly thing going on with the thread? Is that my thread, or is that the satin? See, it almost gets like little sparkle things going on it.
So it's a needle hole.
That must be the needle hole showing through, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're right. Now I see it. Isn't that fun, though? I'm like a 9-year-old. All I need is holes in things, and I'm like, hey, look at that, Mom! All right, lock stitch, turn it over. And again, we're looking for balance. When you're dealing with a thin material like this satin, we're looking for balance. How did we maintain stitch balance as far as tension? I think the answer is we did quite well. We did quite well, didn't we?
Yes.
Yeah. It's fun to try new things, isn't it? And also, as you get to know your machine better, you kind of know what what it really excels at, what it may struggle with a little bit more. And that's all well and good. That's all well and good. Yeah. We throw these to the back. So what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to circle back to what we did on the earlier live stream. And those of you that were here, please forgive me. But I'm selfishly wanting to cut us down from 3 live streams to 1 that we can post, and that'll be a resource for Suzanne and others, and also that Suzanne can maybe share with others that she knows and say, hey, check this out, it's kind of cool. And that way we don't have people falling asleep trying to watch 3. So okay, so real quick, we'll just recap some things. Now, I'm not going to go through the cleaning and all that I did before. I'll talk about it a little bit, but once again, the maintenance. This is exactly the same motor. This is exactly the same motor that's in Suzanne's machine. It's a 0.75 amp, made in Japan. and made very well, where a lot of the manufacturers will use output pulleys like this that are plastic, including the featherweights, by the way. A lot of the featherweights will have a plastic type output shaft pulley. This one is solid metal, and so it's never ever going to wear out. It's just built very, very well. But what I was talking about on this one is the brush sizes. Remember, the brush sizes on this motor are 4 by 4.5 millimeters. So when you're ordering replacement brushes or something like that, you want to fit them like a glove to the machine, because there's a copper, basically a channel that brush fits into, and you don't want it to have excess movement. And then in the earlier live streams, I talked about calibrating the brush as well, so that it's going to have the right tension pushing down against the commutator. I'll just open this up real quick for those of you that weren't here at the first 2 live streams. And I'll actually show you the motor brush. You see the motor brush again. This is all carbon. And as I explained, when it's in the motor, that carbon stack is pushing down like this against that commutator. The commutator is part of the motor assembly. It gets fed by the stators and the stack lamentations and all the other electronics, but it really is the main power ground for that motor. So over time, that carbon will stick to that commutator, and that's where I showed you in the first live stream. You take a Q-tip swab when the motor brushes are out, you just slide it down that channel and gently turn this output pulley. And what it'll do then is it'll clean that commutator, get all of the old carbon off, get all the sludge off of there, and all the other stuff that motor sucks in like a vacuum cleaner. Again, if you're set up near your kitchen, it's going to pull the cooking grease in and everything else, and it's going to stick to those electronic parts. And without breaking the motor apart or taking it apart, which is a lot more work, you can have a huge impact on the motor power by just cleaning that commutator, probably like twice a year, depending on where your machines are set up. And then reinsert that brush again. Make sure that there's enough downward pressure with that spring. The springs will get compressed over time. So you can just gently take it like this and stretch it just a little bit. And then it'll have the appropriate push down against that commutator. So you don't experience what a lot of sewists have. And that is where you'll have a sewing machine where, not all the time maybe, but periodically you'll have to turn that balance wheel to get that motor to engage. And that's a product of the motor brush not being grounded properly to that commutator. And that can be solved very easily by a little bit of cleaning. Also, a light cleaning of the motor brush as well, with a little bit of rubbing alcohol and a Q-tip swab, not saturated, just damp. And then just do a little bit of a gentle stretch on that spring, because they get compressed over time because of the heat and the constant pressure. And then go ahead and get it reinserted again into that motor so that you can enjoy the benefits of a well-performing motor. But this extra motor is a resource to Suzanne, because it was part of the donor machine that we got. And that way, if the motor ever fails, it probably won't, because they're built really well. But if the motor ever did fail, she's already got another motor to fall back on. And then when you put it back together, like I explained before, when you put it back together and you screw in that little cap to compress that motor brush, you want to check that output pulley to make sure that it's not putting too much pressure. Again, when you buy a motor brush, you can buy a motor brush that's 4 by 4.5 millimeters. 4 by 4.5 millimeters is what this motor requires, but they come in different lengths. And so if the length of the motor brush is too long and you try to screw this cap all the way down, because that carbon stack is too tall, it's going to create binding on that output pulley, and your motor is going to run really slow and it's going to run hot. So when you get it in there, screw it all the way down so that motor brush is secure, and then check your output pulley. Make sure that it's turning freely. See that? Nice and free. It's moving the way we want it to move. And then we can do our final test once we've cleaned that commutator. We take out both motor brushes, We clean that commutator again by sliding that Q-tip swab down one of the wells. You only have to do it on one side because that commutator is turning full range. And then once you get that all cleaned up and you clean off your motor brushes as well, you check the calibration as far as the spring, put it all back together. Then we're going to do a test on it to make sure that we're getting proper boot up from the motor. And we can do that, hopefully without taking the camera out. Otherwise, we'll say goodbye now. Bye. See ya. So check all of our contacts. Everything looks good. And we'll just do a quick test on this motor to see that it boots up properly. Good to go. So we did that. We did that successfully with that motor. And then the other thing I showed you real quick, I'll just recap this real fast. I'll get this one out of the way. Recap this really, really quick. Was also testing foot controllers. Real quick, we'll do these foot controllers and then you can have this as a resource as well. Resource of knowledge. Resource of knowledge. So what I showed you with regard to the foot controllers is this is the identical foot controller that goes with Suzanne's machine. And I didn't talk about it, but I always talk about the foot controller needs to be rated higher than the motor. We know the motor is 0.75. The foot controller, I'll show it to you on the camera, is rated at 0.9. That's exactly perfect. That gives you 1.5 amps. Excuse me, not 1.5. What would it be? 0.75, 859, 0.15 amps, I guess that would be. 0.15 amps above what the motor demands. So you're going to be in great shape as far as getting the maximum output from the motor. Is that focusing? I can't tell. Is it okay?
Right now. Mm-hmm.
So you're getting the maximum output from the motor without the foot controller overheating. If the foot controller is rated too low, it's going to overheat because the motor will be demanding more of it than it can support. Remember, the foot controller is the gateway. It's the gateway to your sewing machine motor. The electricity flows through the foot controller and then it gets passed on to the motor. So if the foot controller is not appropriately matched, you're going to run into problems with the performance of that machine. Now, real quick, I'll plug in this foot controller that goes with this Lotus 1000. And as I showed you before, if you're trying to figure out how that machine is wired, every machine has its own nuances, doesn't it? We first of all want to figure out which of these is set up for the light, because when this plugs in, we've got 3 zones. 2 of the zones are going to support the light. 2 of the zones are going to support the light. The other 2 are going to support the motor and the foot controller. So we'll check the outer ones first. And when we plug in the outer ones, we're not getting any positive response from this detector. We're not getting any positive response from this detector. So that's not registering as the right place for at least checking the light, but maybe it's the right place for the foot controller. Maybe the foot controller and the motor are wired in zones 1 and 3. So how do we check that? We just hold onto this like this, and we depress the foot controller. And if we're in the right spot, this little light will come on. And it does. So if you don't have a machine and you say you buy a replacement foot controller, maybe your machine is out for service, or maybe you're having issues where the motor isn't responding with your old foot controller. So you get another one to eliminate that it's not the foot controller. This is a test you can do. And then we can check the other zones to see how they're wired as far as the light. We know 1 and 3 are going to be for the foot controller. Now we'll check zones 1 and 2. And we'll see if they stay on continuously. And it does.
Okay, so if they stay on continuously, it's light.
Right. Yep.
This is so much easier in person.
So the way this plugin is set up on Suzanne's machine, zones 1 and 2 are going to be hot continuously. You can see that right now as we have these in there. So that's her light. As she slides this into her machine, this is going to be supplying the voltage to the light. As we move this black one over to zone 3, we discover again that the way her plugin is set up, so we can test it and make sure her foot controller is not the problem. Let's say her motor isn't booting up, or someone else's motor isn't booting up. We put it in zones 1 and 3. We depress the foot controller. If our light comes on, that means our circuit is good. And that means our foot controller is doing what it's supposed to be doing. So you can see right now, positive response. And again, this setup on this Lotus 1000 is going to be similar to the FOF machines. The FOF machines generally are going to be hot as far as the setup on zones 1 and 2, just like this one is. So this is adopted with a similar wiring scheme as the FOF machines as well, where Singer would be 1 and 3 for the light. Most all of the Singers are going to be 1 and 3. We'll look at that in just a second with this featherweight controller. So just realize that you can test a foot controller without ever plugging it into a sewing machine, just by having a simple little tool like this. And these are at your hardware store, probably at Walmart, everywhere else you can buy these. And that way we've eliminated, let's say that it's not the case, but let's say that we have a Lotus 1000 where it's not booting up. We're not getting any motor response. That could simply be a matter of the foot controller, or it might be the motor brushes, or it might be the motor itself. But we can at least eliminate the foot controller by testing it this way. All right, now we're going to look at a different type of foot controller.
What do you call this? Do you know?
It's a voltage detector.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, it's a voltage detector. Let's see if it actually has a name on it. It doesn't. I don't think it does.
That's okay.
Oh, it says circuit tester. I'm sorry. Circuit tester. Yeah. Now we're going to test a different foot controller real quick that we did on one of the first live streams. And we'll see how they can be different as far as how they're responding and how they're set up. And I had it just a second ago. The featherweight. Oh, it's on the floor. Goodness gravy.
What's this one?
Now we're going to look at a different type of foot controller. We covered this in the first live stream, I think. This one is set up as an electronic foot controller, which means inside of here, if you pull it apart, it's got like a little circuit board, and it's got a diode on there, and the diode creates issues as far as being able to test it without actually connecting something to it. I'll show you what that looks like. So this again is going to be something that will operate a featherweight very, very well. Featherweight only has a 0.4 amp motor. This foot controller is rated, according to this, made in Taiwan. It's rated 1.4 amps. I'm not sure if I believe that, but that's what they're saying on their data plate. So according to the rating on this electronic foot controller, it's not quite, it doesn't have the amperage tolerance to support a Swedish Beauty with a 1.5 amp motor, but you could run it also with a FOF, with say a 1.1 or 1.3 amp motor. But what we're going to do right now is just, I'll show you kind of the nuances of setups. The other one that we had that would be for Suzanne's Lotus 1000 the hot zones are 1 and 2. And then when we wanted to test the foot controller, we went to zones 1 and 3 on the other foot controller that goes with the Lotus 1000. On this one, because it's set up for a Singer machine, the hot zones for the light should be zones 1 and 3 instead of 1 and 2. Let's see if that's true. You see our lights on right now? And we're in zones 1 and 3, whereas on Suzanne's foot controller, we were in zones 1 and 2. So they shift around, and you need to understand that when you're working with your machines so you can diagnose problems and eliminate. It's not the foot controller. Foot controller is fine, and then you can narrow it down to the motor or other wiring. So now, how do we test an electronic foot controller that has a circuit board and a diode? The only way we can test it, because it has, in electricity, they refer to an open connection or a closed connection. An open connection means that there's no electricity flowing through it. It seems like it would be the opposite, doesn't it? But that's the way they describe it. With a closed connection, it indicates that that connection is complete, like a circle, and there is electricity flowing through it. Kind of like right now, we've got our light on, which is telling us that we've got a closed circuit where that electricity is running between zones 1 and 3. That's why the light is lit right now. With an electronic foot controller, it's a little bit different in testing it, because the problem with electronic foot controller is that it has a passive voltage because of that diode that's built into the foot controller. So that means when we go to zones 1 and 2, actually, sorry, it's 2 and 3 on this one, I think. Yeah. On this one, on zones 2 and 3, you can see our light is on right now. We know that this isn't for the light because we already tested the light and it's 1 and 3, but we're getting the same kind of response from zones 2 and 3, which doesn't really make sense, does it? How could we have hot zones in 1 and 3 for the light, but also have a hot zone for 2 and 3? It's because this circuit tester is going to pick up the slightest amount of electricity. It's a passive electricity right now that's in these zones because of the type of foot controller, because it's electronic. So right now we're getting a positive response on 2 and 3. You can see that positive response on 2 and 3, but it's not enough electricity, I would suppose, to turn over this motor. And we're actually going to test that right now, knowing that there's some presence of voltage there, but it's so subtle that it's not enough to start up this motor unless we push the foot controller, which is, I think, what we did the last time when we blacked ourselves out. So if that happens again, God bless. See you again. Thank you, Suzanne, for being with us today, but hopefully it doesn't. So the way we're going to test this foot controller to make sure it's good to go is we're actually going to connect a motor to it. We're actually going to connect a motor to it. I think I said 2 and 3, didn't I? Yeah. So you can see right now I've got our wires. I've got our wires connected to zones 2 and 3. I'm not going to do what I did on the first live stream when I knocked out the camera by going to 1 and 3, treating it like a light. But what I'm going to do now is, right now we got a positive response. We got a positive response from our circuit detector when we plugged it into 2 and 3, but the motor isn't starting up. The motor isn't starting up there. So is there really electricity in there? The answer is yes, but it's so little that it's not enough to turn over this motor until we complete the circuit and we go from being an open circuit to a closed circuit. How do we make it a closed circuit? We push down this foot controller to complete that circle, and then we should get a response from this motor. Let's see if we do. See that? So electricity can be tricky because when we tested this circuit looks like it's exactly the same as the light one, but it's not. It's passive. Whereas this one, if we were to connect that same motor that we just did to this one with 1 and 3, which is designed for the light, we would go ahead and probably knock out the camera again, which we're not going to do. So just understand, circuitry is different. Foot controllers are different in how you can test them and how they respond to circuit detectors, voltage detectors, and everything else. But it gives you a solution to eliminate the issue. If your sewing machine doesn't start up, you can test your foot controller and cut that out of the equation and then focus just on the motor or focus on the other wiring. So hopefully that helps. All right. And I think that's all we wanted to cover. I think it is. We will wait to do the Guggenheim shear giveaway until Tuesday. Why? Because no one called me. Somebody could have called me and then they could also get a free pair of Guggenheim shears. But no one called, so I'll push it off until Tuesday because we've already run like about 12 hours today, I think. Maybe 13.
Like feels like it, huh?
With the new math, it feels like 13 hours at least. So, but I appreciate everyone's patience, and I know Susie had said the same. Let's see here. Susie from Minnesota sent me a quick message, and it says, Jenny's in the live stream suggested you pick a random winner from Google reviews, as after you read them, it is hard to remember which one is which when voting on them. I would suggest letting the contest for scissors wait until a later live stream. I agree. Let's wait until Tuesday. Maybe I can do this so it is random. But I wanted to involve, when it comes to giving away a gift like this, it's like $50. I wanted to involve the writers so they can vote for themselves. And who knows, maybe they'll recruit other sewists in their circle to come to the live stream and also vote for them. So that was my logic. That was my thinking. But what we could do is we could assign a number to each review that has not gotten picked yet, and then drop those into my steampunk hat and then pick out a number. Maybe we could do it that way. We could do it either way. I don't care. But we can talk about that on Tuesday more, assuming I'm ready with another machine, and give away another pair of these. And if someone's willing to call in and read them, even if they can't remember what they were, then maybe I'll give away 2 of these on Tuesday. So, and Bill from Minnesota agreed with Jenny that you read through all of those and you're like, was it number 3 that I liked, or was it number 6 that I liked? And as we get more reviews for Cow Country, who knows? We'll maybe have like 50 of them, and then you're like, I don't remember what number 1 was. So yeah, maybe we need to come up. I think that's a great idea. Maybe we need to come up with more of a random and just acknowledge everyone equally and say, you took time to write a review, whether it was long or short. Thank you. Because people read those and then they're inspired to step towards Cow Country, which is great. So yeah, let's talk about that more on Tuesday. And, but I appreciate everyone's patience. I think we've done a good job on this live stream of capturing things, capturing challenges as well, to get a better understanding of the wants and likes of this Lotus 1000. But again, it's really exciting to celebrate a machine like this that we haven't necessarily seen before on this channel, and a machine that really was kind of pulled out of the ashes. And wasn't it great that it came out of the ashes? Because this is a machine that Suzanne loves. It's been in her family a long time, decades. And also, it's in the design collection at the New York's Museum of Modern Art. So if you're ever out in New York and you go to the New York Museum of Modern Art, go to the design collection and say, since you're in New York, okay, since you're in New York, you walk up to somebody that looks like they work there and you go, yo, where's the Lotus 1000? And they're going to maybe try to usher you out. But if you're quick enough, you might be able to see the machine before they kick you out of there, right? So why not? Kind of cool. Yeah. So All right, with that, thank you so much to everyone for persevering through 3 live streams. They always say third one is the charm or something like that. Apparently it is. But again, what a great machine. It doesn't have a bazillion stitches, but it's got what we need. It's got the straight, it's got the zigzag, it's got the 3-point zigzag, it's got the blind hem, which depending on the stitch length, you might look at it and go, is that a blind hem? But it really is. And then you got these 2 stretch stitches, the stretch straight. You got this other one that we're still trying to decide what to call it, but it's the one that Suzanne used a lot on the machine before it broke, and she's going to be using it a lot more now. Probably not on certain materials though. So, and then you got these buttonholes, which I'll never use.
I never did either.
She never used them either. See, no one uses buttonholes now.
I got a attachment.
You got an attachment? Yeah, probably a better
I never
deal.
used those.
So, but it's just an easy to use machine, you know. I mean, there's only a certain number of controls. You never have to worry about stitch width because it's preordained by the stitches. You just kind of manipulate the stitch length. It's easy peasy to use. So, but again, thank you to the owner for not sitting in the hot car and for
thank you for letting me in.
Yeah, and for enduring, you know, the challenges that we faced with this machine as we were trying to say, oh yeah, it doesn't like that, does it? Or that's the wrong stitch for that type of material on this machine. So yeah, it's kind of fun. Give that back before I forget.
Okay, thank you.
Turn this towards the camera. Move all this other stuff out of the way. And thank you also to the leadership team as well for taking care of the family while I was experiencing the fun side of this machine. The good, the bad, how do they say? The good, the bad, and the ugly, right?
Yeah.
Oh, this is the other motor. I wound up sending the wrong motor with you. That's the other one. All right, well, stay tuned. I think we'll probably have it. I think I'll have another machine ready by Tuesday, hopefully. And you all have a great rest of your weekend. Thank you for all of you that were at the first one, the second one. You all should get Guggenheim shears for that, but I don't know if I can afford that. So I think we'll stick with the write a review, and then we'll find a random way of picking a winner or something like that. So. But take care. God bless. And yeah, we'll see you, right? I'll put on some more music to let you guys wrap up your chats and everything, and then we'll get this all buttoned up.
Happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day. And if you're a mom, hey, you had yours last month, so don't fuss about it, okay? You had yours last month. All right, I'm looking for music. Dance music. And Suzanne and I will be off camera. We'll be kind of grooving a little bit, you know, getting our thing on, you know, and hey. Because after the challenges, good, bad, and the ugly, yeah, we need a little dance. All right. This reminds me of the music they had going in that Mr. Bean clip where he was dancing. His girlfriend is out on the dance stage or out on the dance floor, and some guy walks up and kind of starts dancing with her, and then Mr. Bean comes in with like a weird dance move and basically knocks the guy out. It sounded just like this. Anyway, you didn't need to know that, but now you do. A little bit over 3 hours. My goodness. How far do you have to travel to get back? Oh wow, we definitely need to wrap it down. I didn't realize it was that time.
I learned things about that machine I didn't know.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Regardless of how, because on this one, I never put it on before.
Yeah, that's what it's and the problem.
This makes sense.
But you know what the problem with these stretch things that use the tri-motion is there's not enough range of motion and movement distance if you shorten the stitch. And I did that a couple of times on live streams where it wasn't color coordinated, and I just thought I'm gonna shorten it up. And boy, that you could barely see what that stitch was because it just didn't have enough space. But yeah, the 4 is the perfect setting for these two. I just had another machine where there were groups of different settings, and you had to go to the stretch setting for the ones under decorative, and then also under
Yeah, well, wasn't that the last one you did?
the last one. Yeah. And we kind of discovered that too. So, all right, everybody, I'm going to shut off the fun groove music. If you were in the middle of a dance, I apologize. We'll have more dance music on Tuesday. But again, thank you to the owner, Suzanne, for the opportunity of having this great machine, kind of bringing it out of the ashes, and now she can take it eventually to Florida and do some fun stuff down there. So we'll have to stay in touch. But I'm going to go ahead and end the live stream. The chat will be active for a little bit. After I click the end. So if you're chatting with someone right now, you can wrap up that chat before it times out. All right, see ya. Take care. Bye.